to share with you today my 5 favorite healthy snacks right now. They do change a lot, but I do have pretty consistent recipes that I use every single week, and it worked out well today because it's Sunday and I get to prep them all ready for the week. So the first recipe I'm going to show you is my peanut butter granola from the Health Haven. So this is a recipe that I've recently uploaded, but it is definitely one of the most popular, and I know for me it doesn't last long at all in my household. So I'm going to share that recipe with you. We are also going to do a beetroot hummus, which is a very old recipe that I created ages ago, and I think it's one that's really popular among so many people. I'm also going to do my immunity bliss balls, which is my favorite at the moment, and I'm also going to show you a healthy chocolate mousse and also just a nice little snack that I have, which is rice cakes. So I'm going to show you first how to make the peanut butter granola. So let's start. So I have preheated my oven to 180 degrees Celsius, and I've lined 2 baking trays because this does make quite a big mixture, and I do like to have it quite evenly flat over the baking trays, because if you layer it too thick, the bottom doesn't really cook as well as the top. And I don't like to stir it heaps throughout because it stops like the nice chunks occurring, the nice clusters. So I do use 2 baking trays, and for this recipe, I normally use 2 cups of rolled oats and 1 cup of raw buckwheat kernels, but I totally forgot to get buckwheat today, so I will be using 3 cups of rolled oats instead. But I do prefer to add that 1 cup of buckwheat to add that crunch. You can also use gluten-free oats if you want to make this completely gluten-free, or you can also use quinoa flakes as well. So we are going to start with grabbing a large bowl, and we're going to add 2 cups of your rolled oats. Okay, so 2 cups of rolled oats, but like I said, I will be using 3 for today's recipe. Now this does make a large batch, but the best thing about this granola is that it can be frozen in batches. Okay, so I've added 3 cups of rolled oats, but do what you want to do, whether it be 2 cups of rolled oats and 1 cup of buckwheat, which I do recommend. But we've got that in there now. So now I'm going to add half a cup of desiccated coconut. And trust me, this is so good in it. It gives it a nice toastiness. Okay, so half a cup straight in there. And 1 cup of blitzed nuts. So I have got already blitzed. I had whole nuts, so I've put half a cup of almonds and half a cup of cashews in here, but I didn't have quite enough, so I've also put some walnuts in there. But you don't have to, you can put whatever nuts you want, but essentially 1 cup of chopped nuts. Straight on in there. And we are going to now add half a cup of sunflower seeds, and half a cup of pumpkin seeds. So as you can tell, this recipe is really high in healthy fats. So really great to help you feel fuller for longer, really great for your brain health, skin, hair and nails. So half a cup of pumpkin seeds. These are also really high in zinc, which is great. Coming into winter, we need zinc to help keep our immune system nice and healthy. And also we're just going to add a pinch of Himalayan salt, not too much, just a little bit to give it that tiny little bit of saltiness and just to bring out those beautiful flavors. And just stir this now. So we want to make sure that it's all nice and mixed. And then we're going to prepare our wet ingredients. Yum, it already looks so good, guys. And if you don't like granola, I mean, who doesn't? You can always make this and then keep it in a jar and use it like porridge. So just use like a half a cup scoop and then cook it like porridge, or have it like muesli. You don't always have to make granola with it. So it is quite versatile, which is really good. So now for our wet ingredients. 1/4 cup of melted coconut oil. So I always get that ready first and get that in the microwave to melt, because in winter and the cooler months, coconut oil dries hard, sets hard like this. Okay, so that's melted, and I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of maple syrup. Make sure it's pure maple syrup and not one that's got sugar, liquid sugar as the first ingredient. So you want 100% maple syrup. So this one's just the Coles brand. So a 1/4 cup of that. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I'm just putting all the wet ingredients together. And finally, a 1/4 cup of natural peanut butter. So I just got this from my health food store, but you can get it just from your local supermarket as well. Now, if you like it really, really rich and nutty, you can add 1/2 cup. And then just using a fork, just really carefully mix that together. So just keep mixing until it's a nice smooth liquid, and then we're going to pour that straight on into our granola. And that's all we have to do. We just have to mix it and then bake it in the oven. And we're just going to pour this all over. Look at that. So now we are just going to mix that until it's well combined. So that, as you can see, is starting to stick together slightly, and that's when I know that it is really nicely mixed together. So I'm just going to spread this over the baking tray now. Oh my god, guys, so good. I'm always half tempted to eat it before I bake it, but trust me, it's worth the wait. So this is pretty much done. I'm going to pop it in the oven for around 15 minutes, and then it is done. Okay, so that is in the oven baking away. So now I'm going to show you my favorite dessert at the moment, and I've probably had this for years, guys. Like, it is my go-to dessert when I want something that tastes really naughty, but it's actually really good for you. And all it is 3 ingredients, which is even better. So it's coconut yogurt. You do need just natural coconut yogurt. So I've got that. We also use raw cacao powder, and optional but totally worth it is some protein powder. So I'm using the salted caramel Topeka protein powder. I like that it's all whole foods and natural, and there's no nasties in there. So what I do to start with is I add my coconut yogurt. So I probably add around a 1/4 cup of coconut yogurt to a mug. Now that we've got our coconut yogurt in there, all we're adding is a teaspoon of the protein powder. So 1 teaspoon of protein powder, and then 1 teaspoon of raw cacao powder in there. And literally, guys, you are just stirring that together. Check it out, guys. Like, so creamy and mousse-like. Okay, so that is 2 recipes down. I'm going to show you now one of my favorite recipes for when I'm feeling a little hungry and I'm actually wanting more food like snacks. So I used to eat rice cakes all the time. Rice cakes with peanut butter and cinnamon on top. Yum. But because I've been making my peanut butter granola, I've been wanting something a little more fresh, and I've definitely moved into more of this savory kind of foods. So I use organic rice cakes. So I just use the Pure Harvest brand of rice cakes, and I normally have 2 rice cakes with avocado and diced cucumber on top with either some sprouts, or I don't have sprouts at all, it just depends if they're in my fridge or not, and then some salt and pepper on top with a squeeze of lemon, and it is so good, guys. So I'm gonna make that now and show you guys how I do it, and that is normally maybe an afternoon snack that I've been having. To make this simple recipe, all you need to do is cut around 1/4 of a Lebanese cucumber. I like to then cut it into quarters so it's easily spread over the rice cake. I also just get 2 rice cakes out and I spread over 1/4 avocado over both before sprinkling the cucumber on top, seasoning with salt and pepper, and then adding the sprouts at the end. Super easy and delicious. Okay, so another savory snack I've been loving is my hummus. So I've been making a basil hummus, which I've shared before, but this week we're going to be making a beetroot hummus. It is so versatile. You can add it to salads, you can have it with veggie sticks, you can have it on rice cake sandwiches. It really is so versatile, and that's why I love it so much. Plus, it's full of really incredible ingredients. So I'm going to be making that today, and then we'll have it all through the week to have as snacks, and like I said, in salads and even on sandwiches, which is really delicious. So let's get into that. So to make the beetroot hummus, you will need 1 can of organic chickpeas, rinsed under cold water and just placed in a food processor. I'm also going to add 1 cooked beetroot around this size. Squeeze half a lemon juice all over and add in around 2 tablespoons of hulled tahini. You are also going to add in 1 garlic clove, and 1 teaspoon of cumin powder, a sprinkle of salt and pepper, and then you are just going to place the lid on and blitz together before adding in around 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Blitz that together until you get your desired consistency, just like that. And pretty much all you have to do is put it in a container and place it in the fridge. I normally keep this for around 5 days, but I do normally eat it before then because it is so delicious, and yeah, it's very versatile. Hey guys, we are on to recipe number 5, our last recipe for the day, and of course they are bliss balls. You know I am obsessed with bliss balls. I have a fair few varieties on my website and in the Health Haven, but this recipe is my new recipe that I have shared on Instagram, and I am absolutely loving the immune boosting bliss balls at the moment. I am using the immunity powder from Tropika. I am just really loving that added bonus that it's giving our family, but you do not have to use it. You can always add protein powder instead, raw cacao powder, or acai berry powder. Whatever you have and you want to substitute, you can absolutely do so. So don't feel you need to use that to have a delicious healthy snack. So let's get stuck into it. Start, you need 1 cup of pitted dates. Place them in a blender with around 2 tablespoons of boiled water and half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. You're going to let this sit for around 3 minutes for the dates to soften and infuse those beautiful flavors before blitzing. I do put a paper towel around the blitzer as you do get date juice everywhere.
Now add in 1/4 cup of almond meal and 1/2 cup of desiccated coconut. I'm also adding in 2 teaspoons of my immunity powder, but you could also just add protein powder or raw cacao powder here. And then I'm going to blitz that until it's nice and sticky, and I'm going to spread out a little bit of the desiccated coconut on my bench, roll into balls, and then roll it in that coconut as well. I like to roll this size balls, but I also like to roll mini ones for Huxley too, so depending on who you're feeding, you can really customize the size. Once they are done, you can place them in an airtight container in the fridge.
So guys, that wraps up my 5 favorite healthy snacks right now for you guys. I hope you enjoyed them, and I hope that you have fun creating them as much as I do. It's really great to set aside a little bit of time on a Sunday. It doesn't have to take long at all. Even just 30 minutes to prepare yourself for the week makes all the difference, guys. And if you do recreate them, I would love you to tag me so I can see what you all get up to and see the delicious meals that you use them in. And I really enjoyed making this, so if you did as well, I am more than happy to do more of these in the future, so let me know below. You can like and subscribe, but for now I'm going to leave it there, guys, and I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and I'll catch you all soon.